Welcome back to BK Calls Games. I got a really special guest here for you today. Got a lifelong friend of mine, runner for Heritage High School, the Panthers, and Autobahn Athletics, Dallas Gambrel. Dallas,
how you doing?
welcome.
How you
doing well. How about you?
Not too bad. Thanks for having me on here.
Of course, absolutely. So I wanted to start, obviously I know you pretty well, but the viewer, introduce yourself to the viewer, maybe 1 to 2 sentences. Who is Dallas Gambrel?
Gotcha. So my name is Dallas Gambrel. I am going to be going to Wheeling University in the fall here, and I'll be running track and field on scholarship there while pursuing a degree in industrial engineering. I've lived in Florida about 10 years now. I actually didn't really start track till 10th grade, so it kind of I started it just to try it out, and it's kind of turned into a little bit of a profession here. So yeah, outside of track, I'm a Catholic. So I go to mass on Sundays. I like to spend a lot of time with my friends and family. You'll probably catch me, shopping with some friends, or 100% at the beach during the summer as long as it's not raining,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we live in Florida. You gotta go to the beach, of course. So growing up, everyone wants to do football. They want to do baseball. They want to do basketball, but not really everyone wants to do track. So kind of explain what kind of came about, why that kind of became an interest for you, and how that kind of developed over your high school years.
Yeah, so with track, honestly, it kind of starts back when I was probably in 2nd or 3rd grade. Brian, I love to race people. We like to play tag, and I'd be like, hey, you want to race me? I bet I can beat you. So when I got to high school, that was the first time my parents were like, yeah, so you should probably get into a sport, you can try it out. And so I wanted to race people naturally. So yeah, that's honestly where that came from.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously every sport has its own different discipline that it builds up. What specifically does track build up discipline-wise in your life personally?
So for me, honestly, obviously it takes a lot of mental toughness and physical toughness to compete in the sport and do well. But a big thing for me is it helps me be mentally tough when it comes to doing homework, doing if some bad thing happens, you're really busy and then your car breaks down, I have to be mentally tough and not let things get me down in track, and that kind of carries over. I can be a little bit more resilient in day-to-day life, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's part of it helps transition in life, kind of more patience, more you get, like you said, the mental toughness. So it's kind of something I've noticed across a lot of sports when I've interviewed people.
Yeah.
You mentioned it briefly in the intro, but explain to me a bit more about Wheeling University, where it's at, kind of what your plans are entering freshman year. I know you have some big goals entering your initial year.
Yeah, so in this freshman year, my goal is to, obviously this is a new team, new coach, so we're going to see what happens, but hoping for the best. My goal is to come out in a year from now, in August of 2027. I want to have run 46 seconds in the 400, and I want to have run under 21 seconds in the 200. And I want to, if I can't get it this year, I want to be close to the school record by the end of the year this year, and make it to Division II Nationals. So those are my goals going into college here.
Yeah, and where's Wheeling located for anyone interested?
So it's actually located in Wheeling, West Virginia. It's up in the mountains, about an hour from Pittsburgh.
That's nice. Yeah, and how did they come about recruiting you? Is it kind of how was the process when they were recruiting you to potentially join their team?
So honestly, I was just reaching out to a lot of schools. They were one of the first ones that kind of got back to me and were like, hey, we're interested in you. But I had sent out a lot of emails to a lot of schools and, had some back and forth. But yeah, Wheeling kind of stuck, and we had hopped on some Zoom calls with Coach Healy and everyone. And yeah, it just went uphill from there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll be keeping a close eye freshman year. Hopefully you can knock down some of those records. Oh shoot, what was my next? Yeah. So when it comes to running track, obviously there's different measures of success. How do you personally measure a successful meet, a successful season, et cetera, things like that?
So for me, a big thing, and I had to learn a lot, in my junior year, because it was I switched teams and I had different coaching, and it was a big the coaching changed a lot for me, so I was able to drop several seconds. I think I ended my sophomore year running 55, and I started my junior year running 53, and then at the end of that year I ran 50. So it was a big progression that year. And then so that year was kind of more just based off time. This year I was really able to understand even if you don't drop time, every meet kind of teaches you its own lesson. So I'd say the biggest takeaway, if you will, for me this year was just like keeping your head up and learning to grow. And like, even when you don't run a PR, that's not the end of the world. You learn something, and you can always apply it to your next race and always do better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that kind of goes back to some of the discipline and life lessons we were talking about earlier. I mentioned in the intro how you ran for Heritage, you also ran for Autobahn Athletics. Each had a different, unique, I imagine a unique impact on your life. Can you kind of explain how each program affected you as not only just a racer, but as a man?
Really, it kind of goes back to that mental toughness. Like, obviously, as you progress through life, like you gotta man up for things, for lack of a better term. But it really did, like, so there's be some days I wouldn't want to come to practice, and Coach OJ, he'd be like, okay, we got broken 400s today, and those are pretty tough. But you got to keep showing up, and you got to keep putting in the work, and eventually the times will come.
Yeah, I got the privilege to meet Coach OJ. Some of the got to interview some of his people. He's doing some great things over there with Autobahn Athletics. So obviously, great little experience, I'd imagine, for you. And then lastly, I know you kind of touched on a little bit of it, but just kind of want to go a bit broad here. Just want to have a kind of a bit of an open-ended question. So take your time if you need. But at the end of 2020, or at the end of freshman year for you, Dallas Gambrel will just play.
I think to finish that sentence, Dallas Gambrel will have run 46 seconds in the 400. That's my big goal this year and going into my freshman year. And I really believe, after the way we ended things this season, that it's definitely within our arm's reach this coming season. That's honestly my biggest goal. Obviously, gotta keep the grades up, maintain the scholarships, but that's if I were to complete the sentence, that's at the end of it.
All right, well, I'll clip that, maybe, hold you accountable at the end of the year.
See
where we get to next May. But again, this has been Dallas Gambrel, runner for Heritage and Autobahn Athletics, and future for Wheeling University. Thank you for your time, Dallas.
Awesome. Thank you, Brian.